Today we are going to study Standard 10 History, lesson number 2, that is Historiography, Indian Tradition. Now, Indian tradition includes Indian history, and we are going to study ancient, medieval and modern history. Ancient means very old, and in olden times, that is there were ancestors, our ancestors, there were mythological gods that then and these information about them, that is ancestors and mythological gods, are available in oral form, that is recital, and the inscription of Harappan seals and other artifacts. The historians are studying, they are verifying it, but it is not yet decoded, and still the historians are working on it. Some of them they are very much able to get it, but after some of them they are some of it is still they are doing research. Indians had mastered the art of writing as early as 3rd millennium BCE. So we had mastered, and the earliest known written documents of historical nature found in India are in form of inscriptions. These are in form of inscription. For example, Emperor Ashoka, then Maurya's times, and these are all inscribed on, these are inscriptions on, written on or engraved on natural rocks and stone pillars. So this was the pattern, this was the method, or this was the technique that was used, that is inscriptions, stone inscriptions. From 1st century Common Era, inscriptions begin to occur on. Now what happened? Previously it was on only stones and natural rocks. Now after that, during this century, 1st century, what happened? Inscriptions, the people, they started using coins, metal images and sculptures and copper plates to write any inscriptions, and it provided important historical event informations about the dates and the time also, and by which king or emperor that coin or that copper plate or anything that belongs to. So it used to be, they used to mention it, and then we come to know from that copper plates inscriptions that there are the genealogies of the that is dynastic genealogy, that is the from which the king, for example, king is there, then afterward who became his son, then after his death, then who became the ruler, who took the charge. So this is known as, this was all the record. For today we are having the history, or you can have the information about Shivaji Maharaj dynasty, that how he, after him who became Sambhaji Raje, and after that his son. So that is Shivaji, then Sambhaji, then Raja Ram, right, like that. So this is the genealogy, and also it included, that is what included, that inscriptions, territorial extent, something about it, that is the area that they were, or the ruling kingdom or the region that they belong to, then the administration, then there were travelogues, then by foreign travelers. So this all was the part of this ancient history. Writing of biographies of kings and dynastic histories mark an important step in Indian historiography. So the biographies of king. Now for example, in 7th century Common Era, Harishcharit was written by Banabhatta, and he wrote this. Banabhatta wrote about whom? King Harsha's biography, and what it portrays, what it gives us the information about. It is a realistic picture of his social, economic, political, religious, and cultural life during the king's time. So this is all a record about King Harsha. And who wrote this? Banabhatta wrote this. Which book? Harishcharit. Is it clear? Now let's see historiography in medieval period. Now history of Kashmir by Kalhana. Now Kalhana was a writer, historian. In which century? 12th century Common Era. And he wrote this book, Rach Tarangini. And it is close to the concept of modern historiography. Now Kalhana, he says that he wrote this text after critically examining various sources like inscription, coins, remains of ancient monuments, dynastic records, and local traditions. So this all he is included in that. Now in medieval India, the historian in the courts of Muslim rulers were influenced by Arabic and Persian historiography. Ziauddin Barani holds important place and in this matter. His book Tarikh-e-Firoz Shahi, he wrote this book, and according to him, writing should be about the failing and incorrect policies. It should also be, it is not only the goody part should be written there, but it should have the other side also, that what the king, how the emperor is, or how the ruler is, and how his administration, whether it is good or bad, and all the bad kinds of treatment that he was doing, if he used to, how he used to treat his people in a bad manner, that also should be written there. And the failures related to his administration, related to the war tactics, so that also should be included. Now this Barani considered the impact of the teaching of wise and the learned and the sense of cultural and the sense on whom? On the cultural life of people. So he said that this also should be considered. Thus Barani expanded the source and scope of historiography. So he expanded previously it was only limited, now what all these things should be also included. This was his view. Now historians during Mughal Empire and courts, how they were very loyal. They were writing about the kings and emperors and their praise only. Understood? They were very loyal to them. And Babur was a founder of Mughal Empire. He wrote an autobiography, Tazuk-e Babari, and it contains the descriptions about the battle fought by him and recorded minute observations of regions, then cities traveled by him, local economy, customs, and flora. So all he included, this was his subject of writing. He observed, he experienced, and he wrote it in his autobiography. Al-Biruni wrote in Arabic about Indian knowledge and social life. Abul Fazl's Akbarnama is very important form of critical. He wrote it. According to him, how it was that he checked the authenticity of document. Very important person, historian, and from critical point of view, he checked whether the documents are real. He gave that. He started verifying it, and after verifying and after checking everything, every point's details, he gave his conclusions or information. Now let's see about the Bakhar. Bakhar is an important type of history document of medieval time, and it contains it contains heroic act by heroes and stories of historic events, battles and lives of great men. So there are many Bakhars. Sabashat Bakhar is there, Bhausabanchi Bakhar is there, Panipatchi Bakhar is there, Holkaranchi Bakhar is there. Now it contains, now already I told you, it is having what? Biographies of king, then description of events, then dynastic histories, then autobiographies, then grievance, mythologies, and state of kings administration. Also it is having history of a sect, that is whether a religion is there, then it has, if that religion is having different sects. For example, Christian religion, it has two parts, that is Roman Catholic and Protestant. Understood? So a study of that, a particular religion, if it is having different these parts in it or different types, so these are the sects of so this is the study about the religion. So that also was included in Bakhar. Now let's see about modern period. Now in 20th century, the Indian archaeological exploration and research started, and under the supervision of Sir Alexander, the first director of Archaeological Survey of India, Sir Alexander Cunningham. So he was the first Director General of Archaeological Survey of India, and under his supervision, what happened? Number of ancient sites were excavated. Excavation means the people, they started observing the place, then finding out the things, and mostly closed or the chosen sites that were there mentioned in the Buddhist text for this purpose. Now Harappan civilization was discovered during the tenure of Sir John Marshall. Harappan civilization was discovered during the tenure of whom? During the tenure. Tenure means the time of Sir John Marshall. Many British officials in India wrote about Indian history, and their writings display what? Strong influence of the colonial policies of British. That it was their concern. In 1817, the History of British India, written by James Mill in 3 volumes, first book, was the first book of Indian history by British historian. Now he wrote this book in 3 volumes. 3 volumes means in 3 parts, and this was the first Indian history book, book written by the British historian. In 1841, the History of India was written by Mountstuart Elphinstone. He was governor of Bombay. Today we call it Mumbai. Yes? So he wrote this in 1841. Now period of Maratha Empire is a very important in Indian history. Grand Duff, he was a British officer and wrote a book, History of Marathas. And Colonel Todd, he wrote book on Rajasthan history. Nilkant Janardhan Kirtane and Vishwanath Kashinath Rajwade, these were the 2 Indian historians. They took the task to expose the limitation of Grand Duff, because Grand Duff's way of writing the Indian history was that he praised more and more about the British people and what they contributed in India's history, like what they started to do good in India. So that was there. Various ideological frameworks were there. Now let's see colonial history. There were British officers They were writing about Christian missionaries and the Christian, the British officers more. Example, Christian missionaries, very good example is Mother Teresa. And this justifies what they justified only the colonial British rule, that how British rule it helped the development in India, what all good reforms they did or they were doing. 5 volumes of Cambridge History of India was published during year 1922 to 1937. So this was also one part. Now Orientalist historiography we are going to see. These Orientalists were good, they were on the good side of India. So they wrote good things about Indian people and Indian culture. They were curious about civilization and the countries of East and respected them. They were having respect for these countries. And according to them, Sanskrit language could they gave this thing that assumption that and conclusion that Sanskrit language could be the mother of all languages, and they studied Vedic tradition very nicely. In 1784, Sir William Jones founded Asiatic Society in Kolkata, and it opened the door for research in ancient Indian history, Indian literature and history. Frederick Max Muller, very important person, what he did, according to him, Sanskrit language was the oldest language. He founded that and translated text of Hitopadesh. Now, he the editor of 50 volume of the Sacred Book of East, and he compiled Rig Veda. Rig Veda was published in 6 volumes in 6 parts, and translated into German, in German language. So this was his contribution. After that, lately Sir Edward, he said he was a scholar who re-evaluated the Orientalist writings and has thrown light on imperialism in interest of Orientalist scholars. So this was the thing. Then afterwards we are going to see national historiography. Now national historiography. Now writings of Indian historians trained in the British educational system shown an inclination to restore the pride in ancient glory of India and self-esteem of Indian readers. Now what they did, they were trained in the British system, but what they started, when they wrote about the Indians more. Their writings are known as nationalist historiography. Nationalist writings in Maharashtra were inspired by Vishnu Shastri Chiplunkar. He was a well-known person as a nationalist historian, and he criticized the prejudiced history of ancient India written by British officers. So he criticized the work written by the British officers. Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade, Vinay Damodar Savarkar, Vasudev Vishnu Mirasi, Anand Sadashiv Altekar, these are the renowned scholars of nationalist history or historians. And Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade, according to him, proved that it is not like forest fire for Maratha power to come up. So his findings was in rise of Maratha power. That he said that it is not like that a forest fire it happened and the Maratha power came up, but it was how he discovered it. He tried to mention it very clearly. B.K. Rajwade, his was Marathanच्या इतिहासाची साधने. He wrote of 22 volumes, and according to him, history should be written only using the authentic documentary source, that is the correct writing with proof. This was a view of Rajwade. So there should be no fakeology, or there should be no imagination, but what is correct, what is true with proof, that has to be included in the writings. Damodar D. Savarkar in 1857 wrote the Indian War of Independence, and historiography in the post. Now we are going to see this historiography in the post-independence period or era. Now, during the scholars during this time, after the post-independence, during post, okay. So, what they felt the need that various communities, sciences, ecosystem, political ideologies, cultural aspects should be there in the writings, and the historiography is influenced mainly at what Marxist history, then Southern history, and feminist history. This we are going to see now. Now, Marxist history concerns means of production, modes of production, industrial relations, and they studied transitions within the caste systems. Damodar Dharmanand Kosambi, Comrade Shripad Amrut Dange, Ramcharan Sharma, Comrade Sharad Patil, these were all the historians. And Comrade Dange was a founder member of Indian Communist Party. In his book Primitive Communism to Slavery, he represents Marxist historiography. Now, second is Southern history. It means the bottommost rank. It has the seeds of this history are founded in Marxist historiography. And historian Anthony Gramsci is very important in development developing this historiography. And his idea was that history should be written from the bottommost rank of people. Folklore is a very important source of Southern history. Ranjit Guha, Indian historiography or historian, played major role in establishing this Southern history as important academic school of historiography. And similar thoughts were expressed by Mahatma Jyotirao Phule and Dr. Ambedkar also, Babasaheb Ambedkar. And this Mahatma Jyotirao Phule unfolded history of Shudra communities in his book Gulamgiri. In this book, he wrote about exploitation of women, Shudras and Ati-Shudras in the name of religion. And Dr. Ambedkar, he wrote two books. One was, the title was Who Were the Shudras, and the other was The Untouchables. So these were the two books written by them. Now we are going to we are on the third and the last topic, that is feminist history. Now before that, many of the male writers were writing about only the historians. The historians were writing about only the male figures, everything that everyone who contributed in the development process or the history or the achievements, everything. And women's role in achievements remained all neglected. So to highlight the fact that women started writing, that women are not lagged behind. So in 19th century Common Era, Tarabai Shinde was the foremost name. She wrote attacking the male-dominated social system and caste system. Her book Stree Purush Tulna, published in 1882, is acknowledged as the first feminist book in India. In 1888, Pandita Ramabai wrote the book The High Caste Hindu Women, and feminist literature concentrated on issues like employment of women, treatment at workplace, then their right to political equality. These all topics were discussed in the book. Before that it was not at all discussed, that how the women was treated, how was her position, how in society, what was her, how the people exploited women. So these topics were neglected. Recently published book was Meera Kosambi's book Crossing Thresholds. This feminist essays are there of Pandita Ramabai and Dr. Rukmabai. Now Dr. Rukmabai was the first doctor, lady doctor, Indian of India who practiced. Okay, so it was a great achievement for her. And Pandita Ramabai, if you know about her, if you go to this Maharashtra, there is one Mukti mission, and there you will find that she is having today also there is a big institute running after her name, and there this institute is like a shelter to the girls and to the orphans girl child and to the women, those who are left by the families or they are not having anyone. So there, right from the education child small they are taken care of, and they are giving them professional training also, they are giving them education also, and they are helping the women to stand and get settled in life also. So this is Kedgaon Mukti Mission. So that is the very good example. So in recent time, Yashwant Dinkar Phadke and Ramchandra Guha, they contributed extensively to the historiography of modern India. So this much is there for today. Read homework for you is read the lesson properly, find out the meanings, solve the exercises, and do the activity on feminist historians of India recent time and the olden times, how writers. So this is a good work for you, an activity for you all. So hope you understood the lesson. Take care.